that when a man arises, there are three things that will happen. Number one, he will wake up from the slumber that the devil puts on the children of the world system. Because I made us understand yesterday that people are in a state of slumber because spirits are in the world today trying to weaken the love of people, trying to shut down the passion of people towards God. And that's why you see that in our world today, we are energetic when it has to do with things that do not pertain to God, like watching footballs, like watching movies, like doing all forms of things. Anything that has no signature of God on it, there is so much joy, there is so much enthusiasm, there is so much energy, there is so much zeal. This thing is a demonic program. It's a program that is designed by the devil to weaken people. I'm not saying sport is evil. I'm not saying watching movies is evil, but I'm saying there is an influence, a salient influence that is underneath all of these operations, and it is designed to deaden your resolve for God, to weaken your passion for God, because all of that is the way of the world. And we read from James chapter 4 verse 4, the Bible speaking about those who are friends with the world. And it said friendship with the world is enmity with God. And so everybody who loves the world, loves the way of the world, he has made himself an enemy of God. And the proof is that he will become deadened, so deadened that he will not be sensitive to the realm of God. He will not be sensitive to the things of God. The things of God will not make sense to him. It will not make meaning to him. In fact, when we are talking about the word of God, he's so tired, he's so exhausted. He's wondering why he needs to participate in what you're talking about. He even thinks it's a waste of time. And it's not his fault. He's just responding to the manipulation in the atmosphere. And so most of the scriptures we read yesterday suggested all of this. For example, I read from 1 Corinthians chapter 2 from verse 14. The Bible said, the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God. It said, neither can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. And so we said, a man who has not arisen does not have the capacity to discern God or to discern spiritual things. And so we started to define what it means to arise. And we said, what it means to arise is to awake from that great slumber, is to awake from that state of deadness and become sensitive to the things of God. Ephesians 5:14 said, awake, awake, thou that sleepest, and Christ will give thee light. So the first thing the Bible implies when it says to arise is to awake from slumber, is to awake from worldliness, is to awake from anything that makes sensitivity to God dormant in your life. When you are arisen, God becomes real to you. God becomes a reality that you know by experience. And then we said the second thing that arising implies is to begin to live by the principles of the Word of God. Because there are two major principles by which we live on the face of the earth. We can live by the principle of the Word, or we can live by the principles of God. For example, talking about finances, the principle of the Word is to get all you can and to can all you get. Get everything that is possible and keep for yourself. It's a self-centered and selfish orientation. But when you come into the kingdom, the Bible said the liberal soul shall be made fat. Him that watereth shall by himself be watered unto. So while the world system propagates and postulates selfishness and self-centeredness, kingdom postulates sacrifice and selflessness. But you see, you cannot adopt the kingdom principle except as the word of God becomes your way of thinking and your way of living. And so we say when a man arises, the second thing that happens to him is that he begins to function by the principles of the kingdom. And so number one, he becomes sensitive to God. And number two, he begins to live by the principle of the kingdom, which is propagated by the word of God. And then we said the third thing that happens to a man who has arisen is the fact that his life becomes impactful. So impactful that Gentiles will come to him and kings comes to the brightness of his rising. And so anywhere he is, deploying the resources of grace, he becomes the best in what he's doing, so that his influence and his light begins to shine, because we are the light of the world. We are a city set upon a hill that cannot be hid. So if a man is working in the academia, or he's working in the media, or he's working in the medical sector, or he's working wherever it is that he's planted, he is there as an ambassador of the kingdom. That's the consciousness he sustains. I'm not just here looking for salary. I'm not just here trying to survive. I'm here to represent the interest of another kingdom. And the first way to represent the interest of that kingdom is to manifest the excellency of that kingdom, putting me ahead of all my peers. Like it was spoken concerning Daniel and his friends. The Bible said Daniel and his friends were 10 times better than all their colleagues in everything the king demanded of them. Because if you don't have this mentality, Christianity will become religion to you. It will become a set of rituals that is only carried out within the four walls of the church. But that's not the idea of Christianity. In 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9, it says you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, God's own special people, called forth to showcase the excellencies of God, the praises of God, the glories of God.